Good afternoon, everyone. I hope all of you are fine and feel a little bit relaxed, energetic, sad. Most importantly, most commonly, most of you would be feeling anxious after giving this exam, and that's quite natural for all of us in this field, that there is a little bit of anxiety after we come and after we appear in this exam. That's okay. I was reading the comments when the earlier session was going on, and many of you are worried about two things. Number one, what would be the cutoff, and number two, how important is the current affairs material that we provide to you, or for that matter any other competitor. What is the importance of all these things? I'll answer the two questions. What is going to be the cutoff? However marks you are getting, that is going to be the cutoff. Do you want to be anxious for next 1.5 months? Destroy your preparation, waste your time in feeling that would I be selected, would I not be selected? I hope none of you want to be in that stage. Forget about the paper as far as how much marks you are getting, as far as are you going to get selected or not. Start your preparation after taking a break off. If you want to take a break of 3-4 days, 1 week, go out somewhere, probably you won't be able to go out anywhere, but take a break and start your preparation for mains. How do you start your preparation for mains? Well, start with your optional preparation. Start with your optional preparation. Be prepared, be as much prepared on the day that prelims results come. Probably it comes out at around after 30-35 days, 40 days. At the day when prelims results is announced, you should be prepared with your optional. So much prepared that on the 41st day, you should be able to go and write optional paper if it is asked of you. So therefore, don't waste your time in anxiety that what will be the cutoff, will I make it or will I not make it, what general ki cutoff, OBC cutoff. Nobody can tell, nobody in the entire world can tell, nobody. Any number that you come across is a speculation, is meant to waste your time, is meant to create anxiety in your minds. Do not waste your time. Every number, I can take data of 1000 people and tell you, okay, this is the average marks of 1000 people, so therefore this should be the cutoff. That is purely a speculation. So please do not waste your time in speculating. Do not think ki 95 cutoff jayegi. Last year was 95. I don't know what cutoff last year was. Maybe I think it was 97. Last year was 97. This year's paper was tougher than last year, so therefore 2 marks kam kar lete hain. What rubbish speculation is this? Do not ever speculate on how much would be the cutoff. Do not ever do that. You will end up wasting your time and probably end up wasting the time of the others, which may be in your benefit. So do not do this thing. Do not do this exercise. Do not go for any number ki 95 hai, 97 hai, 105 hai, 110 hai, kitni hai. Would I be on the safe side? Would I be or not? Assume that you are on the safe side. Assume that you are on the safe side, and then start your preparation. Go for optional preparation till the time your results are announced. On the 41st day, you should be ready to write your optional paper. This is my advice to you, number one. Second question regarding the importance of current affairs. Now this is the most common rebuke that we get especially at Vision IAS. After every year's prelim, there is a meme. You must have seen that Kejriwal photo. Kejriwal is burning some documents. Bijli ka bill jala rahe hain, and that UPSC meme is that Kejriwal burning PT365 material or something like that. So every year after the exam, every year people say Vision के current affairs से कुछ नहीं आया, PT365 से कुछ नहीं आया, time waste हो गया पढ़ के, सब rubbish. Nor do we claim, nor can we claim कि यहाँ से question पूछा गया है. Nobody can say that this question is from us. UPSC is not, understand this thing, UPSC is not foolish that it will ask questions verbatim from somebody's test series or somewhere else. UPSC asks question, and this was very much prominent in this year's paper as well. It asks question based on your understanding. Understanding is developed based on reading. You read news, you come across news, you understand the news items, you read newspaper, you read current affairs material, you attempt some questions, you give some test series. It helps to develop your understanding. Test series is not meant as something that you can remember it and you will find exactly same to same question anywhere. Every year we also claim every year that this question was from a test series, this question was from our current affairs material, this question is on a printed material, we'll also claim, just like everybody else we also do. And we have a solid reason to do so, just like everybody else. The reason being that we have told you about a particular concept, may not be in the same or exact manner that the question has been asked, but in a manner that you were enabled to answer that question. You have been enabled through the knowledge that has been provided to you via any current affairs material, via any test series or so on and so forth. So please do not fall into this trap कि ये चीज पढ़ने से कोई फायदा नहीं है, ये चीज पढ़नी चाहिए. Every year you will keep on searching for new material and your search will never end, your attempts will end. You will think कि this year I should read Tamil Nadu NCERT, next year I should read NIOS material, next year I should read IGNOU material. तो हर बार अपना मटीरियल ही चेंज करते जाओगे in anticipation that I will get an exact question from somewhere in this material. If you are not of this kind, then stay away from people of this kind, and if you are of this kind, please change your attitude. Please change your attitude. This attitude is not going to take you anywhere. If you look at this year questions, I will be taking up discussion of economics and current affairs. There are about 25 questions. I will be taking up those discussion. If you look at those questions, questions are testing how comprehensively do you understand a topic. Questions are testing, हम current affairs पढ़ते हैं, we read PT365, we read newspapers, we read all these things. What is it that is being tested in your exam? It is being tested whether you have read one news discretely or in one news separately from the other news, or have you learnt anything from that? Have you learned the news or have you learned from the news? You read PT365 material, there are 1000 subtopics in that. Five or six subjects PT365 material we come out with, and in that every subject has about 110 pages material with about 100 subtopics in each subject. So 500-600 topics हैं total which you read in PT365. It's certainly not possible, but is it that UPSC is testing that how many topics do you remember? No, it is not. How much do you understand? The question on, for example, monetary policy. Do you understand what monetary policy is? Each option would test a different domain or different dimension of monetary policy. So this is what UPSC is testing. Every year, when I used to give my exams, and since the time I have not been giving, every year when people come, students come, they come to me and say one thing which is most common which I heard, कि इस साल पेपर ऐसा था कि अगर नहीं पढ़ के जाते तब भी इतना ही करके आते, नहीं पढ़ के जाते तब भी इतना ही करके आते. This is the most common reaction of people. And why is it the most common reaction? Because once they are giving the paper, then they understand that the paper is not about remembering things, rather than it is about understanding things. नहीं पढ़ के जाते because you have spent your time in remembering lines verbatim. It is human tendency. When we read a newspaper article, it's a human tendency that we try to remember what is written in that article, rather than trying to understand what is written. When we read some article, when we read some news item, we probably are floored by whatever the words, the language that the person is used, and we then try to remember it so that we can reproduce it somewhere when it is required. That is not what UPSC requires. That is not what any exam for that matter requires. You must understand. You must develop a broader understanding, must have that maturity to see whether a particular option, how could a particular question be answered, whether a particular question is right or wrong. Intelligent elimination जिसको बोलते हैं, intelligent guesswork. About as in this year also, there were not more than 20-30 questions that you could have answered based on that you could have answered with surety that you have read this thing, particularly the question that was asked. In about 80-85 questions, you will have to do elimination. You will have to understand the particular question then and there, and then eliminate, and then arrive at a logical conclusion that this should be the answer. Rationally, the chances of this answer being correct are maximum. This is how your approach should be. और वो approach आती है maturity से. This exam is about testing your maturity in how you study, not just what you are studying, but testing your maturity in how you are studying. So these are my 2 cents about the anxieties that many people have right now after they give the exam. Hopefully those anxieties would be cooled because of these few things that I have told you. Never worry about the cutoff. and do not worry about whether I should skip to some material because this material did not yield me enough results. Do not do that. Do not become a book collector. You have to become a district collector. With that, let's start our discussion on our economics questions and current affairs question. First question is question number 6, current affairs. The question is, in India, the term public key infrastructure is used in the context of public key infrastructure. It's probably the easiest question, have been in news multiple times. The answer is A, digital security infrastructure. That is the answer. Public key infrastructure. We have our cyber security policy. We had various policies in which we defined critical infrastructure and so on and so forth. So the answer is public key infrastructure is used in the context of digital security infrastructure. Next, question number 9. This is from economics. If another global financial crisis happens in near future, which of the following actions or policies are most likely to give some immunity to India? Now tell me, where could you find this question? I mean, nobody can claim that we told you that this question is from our series, our test series, or say for example our material. Maybe we can claim, maybe others can claim, but exactly verbatim इस टाइप का question आपको कहीं नहीं मिलने वाला है. But it's such an easy question that you should be able to answer based on the knowledge that has been provided to you. You should be able to answer that. What is the answer to what should be the option here? Not depending upon short-term foreign borrowings, most likely to give immunity. We are trying to shield ourselves from some global financial crisis. Some financial crisis happens in America or in Europe and we are trying to shield ourselves. What action we can take so that we will be affected, or what action we can take so that we will be shielded? Simply think of it. If we are more dependent, if we are more integrated with the foreign world, then if there is some problem, some crisis there, then we would also be affected. If we are shielded, as in we are less dependent on them, then we would be shielded. If something happens there and we are not dependent, we are not interconnected with them, then the chances of us being affected with the crisis that is happening is less. So the question is asking, which of the following policies are most likely to give some immunity? Some immunity, we have to shield ourselves from financial crisis. Maintaining a full capital account convertibility. No. If you have a full capital account convertibility, that means it is you are more integrated, more dependent upon foreign flows. Foreigners are investing, foreigners are taking out their money regularly without any restrictions from the country. So that would harm you more as far as crisis is concerned. That may also lead to more benefits for you if other countries are not in crisis. If USA is growing at a fast pace, Europe is growing at a fast pace, your country may benefit because of full capital account convertibility. But if there is a crisis in USA, crisis in Europe, then equivalently there would also be problems for you. So maintaining a full capital account convertibility is not a measure to shield. It will increase the chances of you being affected. So 3 is wrong. Opening up to more foreign banks. From 3 you can also look at 2 also. Opening up to more foreign banks. If more and more foreign banks are there and banks in America are failing, same bank, Goldman Sachs is there or JP Morgan Chase is there in America and it has its branches in India as well. If that bank fails in America, then the chances of this bank failing in India, it's just a subsidiary of that bank. More foreign banks in India, that may, again, just like option number 3, during the good times, if more foreign banks are there, you may get loans at a cheaper rate of interest. Your deposit may be more secure, you may earn higher rates, you may get loan at cheaper rate, you may get higher rates on your deposits. But during bad times, the bank in America is failing, it's a subsidiary branch, this bank will also fail, so your deposits will not be secure or may no longer be as much secure. So during bad times, again this does not make sense. This is not going to benefit you in times of crisis. This is not going to shield you in times of crisis. So option number 2 is also wrong. So 2 and 3 are wrong, option number 1 is right. Not depending upon short-term foreign borrowing. You are not dependent, you are meeting your requirements from your domestic resources. So option number 1 is right, answer is A only. Question number 10. If you withdraw 1 lakh in cash from your demand deposit account at your bank, the immediate effect on aggregate money supply in the economy will be. Two important words here: immediate and aggregate money supply. Now this is very basic. You must know what is money supply, what are the various measures of money supply, M1, M2, M3, M4. M1 जो सबसे basic measure है, in that we have M1 is equal to CC plus DD, currency in circulation plus demand deposits. You have money in your demand deposit and you have withdrawn it. So what you have withdrawn from your demand deposits goes into currency in circulation, so that will have no effect on money supply. Simply what you have done is you have withdrawn from your demand deposits and you have increased currency in circulation. So the sum, that is money supply, there is no effect on the sum. So money supply will not change, it will remain unchanged. The important clarification here is immediate. Immediately there is not going to be any effect, but in the long term there may be an effect. Effect in form of the cash that you have withdrawn. That cash may be in circulation more number of times, that cash may lead to more number of transactions, production of more GDP, and because of that, in a long term, there might be an increase in total money supply. In the long term, there might be an increase. Why? Because cash is more in circulation, more liquid as compared to demand deposits. But for matters of money supply, we consider them to be equal. And that is why this clarification of immediate has been given here. So the answer would be, it will leave it unchanged. The money supply will remain unchanged. That is the answer. So for question number 9, the answer is A, and question number 10, the answer is D. Let's move on to the next question. Question number 27, gold tranche or reserve tranche, RTP. Basic question. When we read about foreign exchange reserves of a country, we know that what are the various components of foreign exchange reserves. Gold, foreign earnings, all these things. And one important component of foreign exchange reserve is your reserve tranche position at IMF. Reserve tranche position, RTP, at IMF. Those of us who have studied economic survey, again, now it makes an important point that I can introduce here. Again, people say that economics, after exam somebody says that economic survey se question nahi pucha gaya, this question was not there anywhere, I have not read it anywhere. Economic survey again is not meant for you to remember the things that have happened. When you read economic survey, I always say in this session also, before economic survey sessions and in general also, economic survey reading is meant as a complete revision for understanding of economics. It's a complete revision for understanding of economics. You understand what is money supply, how is change in money supply happening, how is change in credit affecting the economy, and various other things. Certainly, there are factual information also regarding certain schemes, certain steps that the government has taken. All those things are there in economic survey. But this is also there in economic survey. Again, this is there in almost every year's economic survey. Pick up any year's economic survey and you would find that there is a chapter on external sector, and in external sector it will talk about in brief what is the position of India's foreign exchange reserves. In India's foreign exchange position, you will see that there is this reserve tranche. This reserve tranche system is a system of credit that IMF gives. You become a member of IMF, you deposit some of your quota, some of the money that you can take from IMF at any time. Any time you require, you can withdraw money from IMF without any security, without any permissions. That is known as reserve tranche position, RTP. So answer is D, a credit system granted by IMF to its members. Question number 40, current affairs question. Consider the following pairs: international agreement and setup for subject. Now this is a fact based question. How do you answer this question? Fact based question. अभी तक जो हमने question देखे, they were more of understanding based, that intelligent guesses could have been done. Now this is example of a question in which if you don't know, then you don't know. This is a fact based question. Nothing for me to explain here that इसको इस तरीके से याद करो. I cannot say कि भाई एक full form बना लो मोदी जी की तरह, हर चीज की full form बना लेते हैं, ये full form बना लो और उसको याद कर लो. No, that's not the way. You will find many people say कि भाई okay, Ala Mata is this, High Convention is this. It was there in news, in current affairs, therefore you needed to know it. All these conventions have been in news. Talanoa dialogue तो बहुत ही famous है. Global climate change, it is under Paris climate deal, and various dialogues, various ways of formalizing the agreement of Paris climate deal is there. So this Talanoa is there. From there you could have guessed, okay, 3 is right. Others you may not have known, or if you could have eliminated 2 or 4, you could have arrived at the answer. The answer was C, 1 and 3. You could have eliminated Hague Convention, which is option number 2. हेग कन्वेंशन एलिमिनेट कर सकते थे. हेग कन्वेंशन इज नॉट रिगार्डिंग दिस बायोलॉजिकल एंड केमिकल वेपन्स, दैट इज अ डिफरेंट. बायोलॉजिकल केमिकल वेपन्स की अलग कन्वेंशन है. सो यू कुड हैव एलिमिनेटेड दिस. Based on elimination of 2 intelligent guesses, you could have arrived at option number 1 and 3. 3 is certainly right, and 2, after eliminating 2, you could have arrived at option to be 1 and 3. Next, question number 54. Again, an easy question. With reference to chemical fertilizers in India, consider the following statements. At present, the retail price of chemical fertilizers is market driven and not administered by the government. Now, it's quite a common knowledge, everybody knows that government controls the prices of fertilizers. Which fertilizers? Nitrogenous fertilizer, urea. Government controls the prices of urea. Other prices, other fertilizers, they are decontrolled. Their prices are not controlled by the government, but government does provide a subsidy on them. It's not that government does not provide subsidy on non-urea fertilizer. Government provides a subsidy from a scheme of nutrient-based subsidy scheme. But selling of urea fertilizer, government administers the price. So option number 1 certainly wrong. बहुत ये क्वेश्चन किसी का गलत नहीं होना चाहिए. Option number 1 is wrong. Ammonia, which is an input of urea, is produced from natural gas. Fertilizers के अंदर basics में, again this is partly science and tech, but quite common knowledge, that which is the most important ingredient for production of urea. Based on कहां पे PT365 हेल्प करेगा, कहां पे करंट अफेयर्स न्यूज़पेपर हेल्प करेगा. यू शुड नो दैट इंडिया हैज आउटसोर्स्ड द प्रोडक्शन ऑफ यूरिया टू अदर कंट्रीज. वी हैव अग्रीमेंट विद ओमान दैट वी विल प्रोड्यूस फर्टिलाइजर्स देयर रिक्वायर्ड फॉर इंडिया एंड देन इंपोर्ट हियर. व्हाई आर वी प्रोड्यूसिंग फर्टिलाइजर्स इन ओमान फॉर इंपोर्ट इन इंडिया? बिकॉज ओमान हैज नेचुरल गैस. Why do we have an agreement with Iran regarding production of fertilizers there? Because Iran has natural gas. So this current affairs knowledge will help you to answer this question. Not that you will find it somewhere कि विजन ने नहीं बताया, किसी और ने नहीं बताया कि अमोनिया के प्रोडक्शन में नेचुरल गैस यूज होती है. This is the reason why we are entering into agreements with all these countries, outsourcing the production of fertilizers to other countries, foreign countries. So option number 2 is right. Sulfur, which is a raw material for phosphoric acid fertilizer, is a byproduct of oil refineries. Again, a common knowledge. Sulfur, almost all the sulfur is, almost all का मतलब more than 80% of the sulfur in the world is produced using as a byproduct of oil refining process, as a byproduct of crude oil refining process. Sulfur is produced from that. So again, क्योंकि लगभग इतना produce हो रहा है sulfur वहां से, तो it becomes a common knowledge for you that this should be right. Again, if you don't know whether this is right or wrong, if you don't know whether sulfur is produced, certainly there might be large proportion of students who don't know whether sulfur is produced from this or not. My advice would be that you leave this question. You are not able to answer, let's say you are able to eliminate 1 very easily. 1 eliminate करने के बाद you are left with 2 and 3 only and 2 only. That means 2 is certainly correct. If you don't know whether 3 is right or wrong, do not ever make a blind guess. अक्कड़ बक्कड़ बम्बे को करके नहीं मारना है कि बी और सी के अंदर से कोई भी मार देते हैं, आंसर 50% चांस से सही होगा, 50% चांस से गलत होगा. Absolutely wrong way to answer a question. How you should answer a question? If you know that I have heard somewhere, I have blind guess नहीं, intelligent guess. If you know that there is sulfur present in crude oil, then there is something in your mind that is telling you that there might be a possibility that sulfur might be produced from this. Then you can mark option 2 and 3. That is an intelligent guess versus not knowing whether, having no idea about this and then saying कि दो तो मैंने eliminate कर लिए हैं, इन दोनों में से मेरे को मारना है, तो let's mark it, आंख बंद करके मार लेते हैं. I do not encourage such attempts. Okay, so the answer would be B, 2 and 3 only. Next question, question number 71. In India, which of the following can be considered as public investment in agriculture? Which of the following can be considered as public investment in agriculture? Fixing minimum support price for agriculture produce of all crops. Fixing MSP, is it investment? MSP giving can be considered as a certain, can be considered, it is a subsidy that the government is providing in indirect way to the farmers. But is it an investment? No. How do you understand investment? In normal terminology or in layman terminology, You must be able to understand what is meant by this word investment. Investment is I am investing money so that I can reap the returns in future. I am investing my money somewhere so that I can get certain returns on future. I invest my money in machinery. I invest my money in building irrigation canals. I invest my money in building institutions. I invest my money in building capabilities. All that is investment. But giving money just for sake of MSP is not investment. So option number 1 is wrong. Computerization of primary agricultural society. Yes, this is investment. Computerization would be considered as investment. Why? Because that will increase productivity. Investment का purpose ये होता है that it increases productivity. Social capital development, certainly not just investment in material but also investment in quote unquote man. Development of capability of the farmer, that is also an investment. You educate the farmer, you tell him or her about new rules, new methods of technology, that would also be part of investment. Free electricity supply, no, that's not investment. Free electricity supply is not investment. Building electrical supply system would be investment. Free supply of electricity is not investment. Waiver of agricultural loan by the banking system, certainly it's not investment. Waiver is not investment. That may lead to some productivity gain in future, but the purpose of this expenditure is not productivity gain. Purpose of this expenditure is not productivity gain. Purpose of this expenditure is not productivity gain. Objective of this expenditure and this setting up of cold storage facility by government. Government sets up cold storage facility that enables the farmer that they can store their product for a longer duration so that they can get better prices from the market. That leads to a situation where somebody can invest in food processing sector. If you do not have cold storage, if you do not have proper storage facilities, then the chances of somebody buying that product would be less. So therefore, this also enables productivity gains, benefits in future. This does not, and this does not. Answer is 2, 3 and 6. Option number C. 1 को eliminate करते तभी सीधा 2, 3 and 6 पे आते. So answer would be C, 2, 3 and 6 only. Next, question number 72. What is the importance of the term interest coverage ratio of a firm in India? Interest coverage ratio. Now this question was asked to me in a class, I think in RB1 in Lucknow. This question was asked to me that what is interest coverage ratio? So interest coverage ratio is I earn something, I am a factory, I am a company, and I have got some earnings. At the same time, I have also taken a loan and I have to pay an interest on that loan. Let's say the interest that I pay every month is 1000 rupees and the earnings that I am earning and my earnings are, let's say, 10,000 rupees. So 10,000 rupees I earn from my business and 1000 rupees I pay as interest on the loan that I have taken. Interest coverage ratio is 10 times. My earnings are able to cover for 10 durations of interest. My earning, 10 installments. My earnings, what is my current earning? That is able to cover for, that is able to provide for 10 installments or 10 payments for interest. That is known as interest coverage ratio. What would be better if my interest coverage ratio is 5 or if it is 15? I have my earnings that can cover only 5 times my interest payment versus I have an earning that can cover 15 times my interest payment. Which would be better? Quite obvious. Option number 3 would be wrong. The higher a borrowing firm's level of interest coverage ratio, the worse is its ability to service its debt. No. Higher the ratio, better is the ability to service your debt. So option number 3 would be wrong. 3 eliminate करते हैं, you are left with 1 and 2 only. 2 is certainly right. It helps in evaluating the emerging risk of a firm that a bank is going to give a loan to. Yes. It helps in understanding the present risk of a firm that a bank is going to give loan to. Both things are very obvious. Present risk and emerging risk. I have an interest coverage ratio of 10. What is my present risk and what is my future risk? As in expected future में क्या earning होगी, future में कितनी coverage होगी, you can estimate from this. So both option 1 and 2 are right, option 3 is wrong. If somebody is confused during the exam, देखो again, after the exam with knowledge of answer, and I have this right now. I am in a position that I am not writing the exam, I am not sitting in the exam right now. I know what is the answer and I am explaining to you that answer. भाई मेरे को इस समय I know what the answer is, and at the same time I am not sitting in the exam, I am not facing that pressure whether I should attempt this question or not. This pressure जो एग्जाम के अंदर एग्जामिनेशन हॉल में, the pressure that people feel, that you experience, that certainly that pressure sometimes incentivizes you or pushes you to attempt a question and sometimes holds you back from attempting a question. So that pressure is real, and that pressure may lead you to attempt or may lead you to not attempt a particular question. It is totally up to you whether you want to take a risk or not. When do we take a risk? We take a risk. When do we take a risk? That question I cannot answer. When do we take a risk? But when should we be taking a risk? We should be taking a risk when there is some intelligent rational. जैसे मैंने बोला intelligent guess, अक्कड़ बक्कड़ बम्बे बो करके नहीं. We have to take an intelligent guess. We have to be rational in thinking that this should be right or this option should be wrong. There is no reason whatsoever that any of these options should be wrong. हमें analysis paralysis करके कंफ्यूज नहीं करना है अपने आप को. वी डोंट हैव टू गेट कंफ्यूज दैट प्रेजेंट रिस्क असेस हो जाएगा, फ्यूचर रिस्क असेस नहीं होगा. भाई फ्यूचर रिस्क इज अ फंक्शन ऑफ प्रेजेंट रिस्क. फ्यूचर में रिस्क है, देयर कैन बी मल्टीपल अननोन्स इन फ्यूचर ऑल्सो, बट व्हाट इज द प्रेजेंट रिस्क, व्हाट इज द प्रेजेंट सिचुएशन, दैट इज ऑल्सो अ गाइड टू व्हाट योर हेल्थ विल बी इन फ्यूचर. भाई राइट नाउ आई एम परफेक्टली फाइन, फ्यूचर में हो सकता है एक्सीडेंट हो जाए, मर जाऊं, बट चांसेस आर दैट गिवन माई प्रेजेंट रिस्क, no problem whatsoever that I am facing, so chances are, let's say I may not die of some disease that is not there with me today, future में हो सकता है. So based on this you can answer that you can mark your answer that both 1 and 2 are right. Next, question number 73. Which of the following factors or policies were affecting the price of rice in India in the recent past? बहुत ही आसान question. Price of rice was being affected by what all? Minimum support price, does it affect? Certainly it affects. What is the MSP? If MSP is higher, market price would also be attracted towards MSP. Market price would also rise. Government's trading. Government is the largest procurer of rice and wheat in the country. If government procures large amount of rice and wheat in the country, that means less amount is left to be traded in the market. And when government procures large amount of rice and wheat in the market, it may at a future date offload that procured rice in the market. आज procure कर ली, government has procured 60% of rice produced. क्या करेंगे उस rice का? 20% we have used, 40% is lying with us, not being used anywhere. So at future date, let's say after 1 month or 2 months, then government will start to offload that rice in the market. Will it not affect the price? Certainly it will affect the price. Simply supply and demand. Whatever affects supply and demand, that should affect the price of rice. Government stockpiling logically flows from option number 2. Consumer subsidies, government provides subsidies that as इसका the direct effect क्या होगा? Consumer subsidies and taxes के ऊपर government provides some subsidies for purchasing of rice, that affects price of rice. Answer would be 1, 2, 3, 4. All are the options. All affect the price of rice. Next, question number 74. Consider the following statements. The value of Indo-Sri Lanka trade has consistently increased in the last decade. So I think that you should be seeing a graph on your screens. That graph on your screens, if you are seeing this graph, I have taken this graph from, I think, Diplopad magazine or somewhere like that. You can see that this is India and Sri Lanka's trade. These are imports generally flat and these are exports generally rising. Now read the statement. The value of Indo-Sri Lanka trade has consistently increased in the last decade. Consistently increased in the last decade. Now, well, trade has increased. If you look at this graph, from this point to this point, trade has increased. But is the increase in trade consistent? Consistent का मतलब क्या है? Consistent means that it should increase all the time. It should increase all the time. That has not happened. There are slumps, and there is a major slump in Indo-Sri Lankan trade. A major slump in Indo-Sri Lankan trade, and that is why option number 1 is wrong. consistently increase. nahi, there have been years, about 3 years, for which there was a sharp fall in Indo-Sri Lankan trade. Now this was covered in economic survey, India's trade with its partners, but I don't think so this year's economic survey, I think it was last year's economic survey in which this was there, India's trade with its neighbors. India's trade with its neighbor, I think this was covered there. For those of you who say, sometimes people ask, for how many months should we read current affairs? Should it be 1 year, 2 years, 24 महीने का पढ़ें, 12 महीने का पढ़ें, 30 महीने का पढ़ें? Somebody says we should read economic survey of, somebody says we should not read economic survey, someone else says that we should read economic survey of past 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. No. You have to be consistent in your preparation, as in determine what source you are reading and just stick to that source. Just see that whether or not you have covered this year's economic survey, whether or not you have covered this year's news items or not. Beyond that, it's rationally not possible for us to go, so therefore no need to worry about that. If this was in news, very well, you must have studied it, then you must have answered it. लेकिन हमारा टारगेट 100 के 100 क्वेश्चन करके आने का तो नहीं है. We don't have this target that we must एक आध क्वेश्चन छोड़ना भी है. So maybe let's see that if this is the question that we have to leave or not. Option number 2, textile is the important item of trade between India and Bangladesh. This is very obvious, everybody knows about this. Option number 2 is right. In the last 5 years, Nepal has been the largest trading partner of India in South Asia. Certainly not. Bangladesh is the largest trading partner. Guess ही कर सकते थे, नेपाल से तो बड़ा बांग्लादेश and Sri Lanka है. Our trade would in South Asia would be greater with Bangladesh and Sri Lanka as compared to that with Nepal. So option number 3 is wrong, 2 is right. You are left with A and B, 1 and 2 only or 2 only. I would never suggest that you attempt this question if you do not know about this. If you think in your mind कि भाई in the last decade India Sri Lanka का trade increase हुआ होना चाहिए, which is the logical thing to think of. If you think that India and Sri Lanka's trade would have increased in the last decade, then please go ahead and mark this option as right, as has increased in the last decade. Go ahead and mark this option as right and mark 1 and 2 as the right answer. ज्यादा से ज्यादा गलत ही तो होगा, लेकिन आपने एक अंधा गेस नहीं मारा होगा. You would not have had a blind guess. लॉजिकल गेस है, लॉजिकल गेस भी गलत हो सकता है, लेकिन if you think that this should be right, that India and Sri Lanka trade should have increased in the past decade, go ahead and mark this answer as right. Go ahead and mark 1 and 2. गलत ही तो हो जाएगा ना. इंट्रिकेटली भाई आपको नहीं पता कि भाई बीच में 3 साल ऐसा आया था जब गिर गया था ट्रेड. सो दिस मच रिस्क आई एडवाइज स्टूडेंट्स टू टेक. गलत, माई रिस्क इज नॉट, द रिस्क दैट आई एम आस्किंग यू टू टेक इज नॉट बेस्ड ऑन केवल 2 ही ऑप्शन बचे हैं और अब इनमें से कोई एक टिक करना है. दैट इज नॉट द मैनर इन विच आई एम आस्किंग यू टू टेक रिस्क. The risk that I am asking you is that there must be a logical reason that you think that option number 1 is right or wrong. Based on that, you go ahead and attempt this. ये उस टाइप का क्वेश्चन है जो हमें करना चाहिए. This is a question which we should attempt in our second round. Second round as in जब पहली बार हमने attempt कर लिया question, this question probably we would not have attempted. But in second round when we see that we are still at 50-60 question, we need to attempt more. तब हमें इस टाइप के क्वेश्चन attempt करने चाहिए. गलत हो जाएगा, ऑब्वियसली सारे क्वेश्चन तो सही नहीं होंगे, बट वी शुड बी अटेम्प्टिंग सच क्वेश्चंस. दिस इज माय एडवाइस टू यू. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन नंबर 75. Which of the following groups are all 4 countries members of G20? Now this was a tricky question. सारे countries G20 के कौन से हैं किसी को probably याद नहीं रहते. Maybe based on elimination you could have done this. Maybe based on elimination. Indonesia is a member, Malaysia is not a member, Singapore is not a member, Iran is not a member, Vietnam is not a member. So again, intelligent guesswork hai in this question. Again, this is a type of question that I encourage that you can attempt. Option number 1, option number A is the answer. Argentina, Mexico, South Africa and Turkey. Well, you know this year's summit virtually, this year I think or last year was held in Turkey. Then you have South Africa, certainly it's part of South Africa and is part of G20. Mexico और Argentina में आपको लग सकता है कि बहुत छोटे छोटे countries हैं या फिर इतनी बड़ी GDP नहीं है. Probably they are not in the top 20 GDPs of the world, but they are. So the answer is A. Again, fact based, I encourage that you attempt this question. You could have attempted this. Next, question number 76. I see the doubt, Harshvardhan, you have asked a question. I'll answer that question in some time, as in when I finish with the discussion. Other questions also, if there are any, please let them be displayed here. I'll answer them once we are finished with our discussion. Next, question number 76. Under the Kisan Credit Card Scheme, short-term credit support is given to farmers for which of the following purposes? Short-term support is given to farmers for which of the following purposes under Kisan Credit Card Scheme? Let's logically think about it. Logically, again, it's not possible for anybody to remember what are the various scheme government ने बनाई होगी Kisan Credit Card Scheme, and in the details of that scheme 10, 15, 20 points would have been written that loan would be given for these purposes. Go and ask Manmohan Singh during whose time, or Atal Bihari Vajpayee or Narendra Modi, go and ask anybody that whether you know for what purposes loans are given. Nobody would know. Go and ask a banker who is supposed to give loans, probably they would also not know. They would also have to recheck from the purposes, जो 10, 15, 20 purposes हैं, वहां से recheck करना पड़ेगा that whether or not loan can be given for this particular item or not. So it's not possible for us to remember. Now let's look at logically for what purposes could this loan be given. किसान क्रेडिट कार्ड स्कीम के अंदर किस पर्पस के लिए लोन दिया जा सकता है? First of all, let's think, if loan is being given for Kisan Credit Card, if some loan is being given for Kisan Credit Card Scheme, then it would probably be given for improving productivity. It would probably be given for improving the productivity. Productivity as in, it would be given so as to increase farmers' output, assist the farmer in increasing his income, and then it would reflect, or it should reflect in more and more investment expenditure. This is what loan under Kisan Credit Card Scheme usually should be given for. Construction of family house and setting up a village cold storage facility. A village cold storage facility जो है, that is not a prerogative of the farmer. A farmer wants to set up his own cold storage facility, loan can be given for that, but village cold storage facility तो शायद नहीं. At the same time, construction of family house is not something that is related to agriculture. Family house, you want to construct your house, you go and take a housing loan, but not under Kisan Credit Card Scheme. Not under Kisan Credit Card Scheme. So this should not be the answer. 5 should not be there. Eliminate 5, you get your answer 1, 3 and 4. Logically, हमने सारे option, as in मैंने नहीं पढ़े, but you look at all the options and then you see which of the options could be certainly eliminated. 5th is that option which could working capital for maintenance of farm assets. Certainly there is a possibility that Kisan Credit Card Scheme loan can be given for this. Purchase of combined harvester, tractors and mini trucks, बिल्कुल इसके लिए भी दिया. Logically, again I don't know what is the right answer, I don't know whether it can be given or not, but my mind says that it can be given for this. Why? Because this is increasing productivity. Consumption requirements of farm households. Consumption requirements of farm households, as in it is a little bit not possible. It is looks little bit unlikely कि farm household के consumption के लिए loan दिया जा सकता है. It may be given, it may not be given. I don't know about this. Post harvest expense looks like a farming expenditure, so probably loan can be given for this. Construction of family house and setting up a village cold storage facility, this looks like certainly we can eliminate it. Certainly इसको eliminate कर सकते हैं. Intelligent guess बता रहा हूं मैं. Again, I have told you this multiple times in your exam. 80-85 questions this year were of the nature that you did not know the answer in advance. You would have to use your existing knowledge to take intelligent guesses. This is a question in which you could have eliminated option number 5 and then you could have come up with option number 1, 3 and 4. मैंने बोला था, for example, 2, purchase of combined harvesters, tractors and mini trucks, loan should be given for this under Kisan Credit Card Scheme, but it is not. Now I can logically justify this also. मैं अपने आंसर को अब जस्टिफाई कर रहा हूं मार्क करने से पहले. I am telling you about the thought process that goes into before marking an option. Question is, short-term credit support is given to farmers for what purpose? Buying of combined harvesters or tractors or mini trucks, that is not a short-term loan. You take a car, that is not a short-term loan. That is a loan that you take for 6, 7, 8, 10 years. You buy for a farmer. Farmer takes a tractors on loan. Farmer takes a combined harvester on loan. That's a costly machine. It is going to take a long duration for the farmer to repay it back. तो किसान क्रेडिट कार्ड स्कीम के तहत आप शॉर्ट टर्म इमीडिएट लोन लेते हो. So the chances of this being right are now less. Now you are trying to justify that why 2 is not right. So before marking you should undergo all these explanations. अपने माइंड में लॉजिकल एक्सप्लेनेशन बनानी पड़ेगी कि ये ऑप्शन सही नहीं हो सकता है या ये ऑप्शन सही क्यों होगा. So these are my 2 cents for this particular question. The answer is B, 1, 3 and 4 only. Next question number 77. Easiest question this year. The weightage of food in CPI is higher than wholesale price index. I hope all of you know. WPI does not capture changes in price of services that CPI does. Obviousest of obvious चीज है, सबको मालूम है WPI CPI में differences. RBI has now adopted WPI as its key measure of inflation. No wonder inflation targeting framework. RBI now sets interest rates based on consumer price index. Headline inflation earlier was WPI. Now it is CPI. CPI is the inflation measure that RBI uses to set interest rates, to change key policy interest rates. So option number 3 is right. You can mark the option. देखो जो भी option सही आ रहा है. 1 and 2 are right. 3 is wrong. Answer is A. Next question number 79. Consider the following statements. In the case of all cereals, pulses and oilseeds, the procurement at MSP is unlimited in any state UT of India. No. Unlimited open procurement policy operates only for rice and wheat, not for other 21 crops for which MSP is announced. Now this is also something which you would have come across multiple times in newspapers. Certainly in our PT35 material and in our test series we have asked this question. PT35 में तो जो हम explanation देते हैं पहले regarding a particular issue, in that this is there. In the case of cereals and pulses, MSP is fixed in any state UT at a level to which market price will never rise. Opposite, MSP, the name is minimum support price. That means theoretically it is the price below which market price will never fall. It is the price below which market price is theoretically never going to fall. This is the basis of MSP. So certainly this is wrong. Practically it may be the case, and it is usually the case, that market prices rise up to MSP. Market prices are usually less than MSP. Usually it is the case. Practically usually it is the case that market price are less than MSP. But वो practical aspect है. Theoretical aspect क्या है? That MSP is meant to be the minimum support price. The minimum price which would be there in the market, that is market price would never be allowed to fall below MSP. This is the theoretical aspect. So option number 2 is wrong, 1 is also wrong, answer is D. Both are wrong. Next question number 80. With reference to Indian economy, consider the following statements. Commercial paper is a short-term unsecured promissory note. Now in various instruments, अलग-अलग type के debt instruments हम देखते हैं. Again, about these instruments, where would you find information? Information about these items you would find in economic survey. If you read economic survey, then you would say this company is issuing commercial papers. There you will find what a commercial paper is. Do not go and see. Let's assume there is some book X, some book written by an author X in which commercial paper is mentioned, or some book in which call money or certificate of deposit is mentioned. From next year everybody will start studying this book thinking that इसी किताब से क्वेश्चन पूछे जाते हैं. Rubbish. Questions are not asked from that book. Questions are asked from items, from themes. A particular book may cover only a limited number of themes or items. Economic survey covers this, so our focus should be on reading, understanding these broad documents, these important documents. Make your preparation such that you are in a position that you could have answered this question. So commercial paper, it's an unsecured short-term debt, promissory note issue, which is issued. Certificate of deposit, it is a long-term instrument issued by Reserve Bank of India to a corporation. No, that's not certificate of deposits. Call money is short-term finance used for interbank transactions. Yes, this is certainly right. Option number 3 certainly right. Zero coupon bonds are interest bearing short term bonds issued by scheduled commercial banks to corporations. No, zero coupon bonds are usually issued by RBI, issued by Government of India via RBI. RBI does those operations. बेसिकली चाहे कॉमर्स शेड्यूल कमर्शियल बैंक इशू करे भी, कर तो सकते ही हैं, लेकिन गलती यहां पे क्या है? गलती इज जीरो कूपन आर इंटरेस्ट बियरिंग. नो, जीरो कूपन मींस जीरो इंटरेस्ट. Zero coupon. I print a piece of paper and on that piece of paper it is written, I am borrowing 100 rupees from you at 0% rate of interest. I will give you that piece of paper and you will give me 100 rupees. I will not pay any interest rate to you. इसको बोलते हैं zero coupon. Why would somebody give? Why would somebody give me 100 rupees when I am offering zero rate of interest? Somebody would give me that. Somebody would give me that money or buy that paper from me if I am taking less than 100 rupees from that person and promising to give 100 rupees in return. I will take 98 rupees from you and give you a piece of paper on which it is written that I have taken 100 rupees from you at zero rate of interest. Therefore, I will return 100 rupees. मैंने लिए तो आपसे 98 है, but I will return 100 rupees to you. This way, the person who is giving money earns an interest. This is zero coupon. इसको बोलते हैं zero coupon bond. That means which gives a zero rate of interest. It may give you some return, but that is not in form of interest. Interest कुछ नहीं देता है. So option number 4 is wrong. So option number 3 is right, 4 is wrong. You can arrive at the answer. Answer is 1 and 3. C. Next question number 81. With reference to FDI in India, which of the following is considered its major characteristic? Major characteristic of FDI. It is investment through capital instruments essentially in a listed company. No, that is primarily FII. It is largely non-debt creating capital flow. Yes, that's right. Non-debt creating as in Amazon invests in India. Amazon invests $10 billion in India. It will not invest India in form of debt. लोन नहीं देगी वो इंडिया में किसी कंपनी को, अपनी कंपनी खुद आके एस्टैब्लिश करेगी. It's not giving loan, it's investing in itself, investing in its own company, creating a company in India. That is what FDI is. Some foreign company, Hyundai, wants to come and invest in India. It will not give out loan to some Indian company. It will set up company, its own company in India. Non-debt creating investment. Largely non-debt creating capital flow. This is what FDI is. Option B is the right option. It is investment which involves debt servicing. No, debt servicing is जो भी हमने interest coverage देखा था ना, that is debt servicing only. Alternate नाम उसका debt servicing है. It is investment made by foreign institutional investors in government securities. No, that is FII. Answer is option number B. It is largely non-debt creating capital flow. Next question, question number 82. With reference to international trade of India at present, which of the following statements are correct? International trade के respect में statements पूछिए, okay? India's merchandise exports are less than its merchandise imports. Almost everybody knows that as far as trade in goods is concerned, we import more as compared to what we export. Obviousest knowledge hai. Option number 1 is right. Exports in merchandise are less as compared to imports in merchandise. India's imports of iron and steel, chemicals, fertilizers and machinery have decreased in recent year. फैक्ट बेस्ड चीज है, एक बार को स्किप करते हैं. लेट्स लुक एट अदर ऑप्शंस. ऑप्शन नंबर 2 में आई डोंट नो वेदर इट इज राइट और रॉन्ग. ऑप्शन नंबर 3, India's exports of services are more than its imports of services. On services account, on invisibles, we know that we have a surplus. We export more services as compared to what we import. So option number 3 is right. So 1 and 3 are right. India suffers from an overall trade or current account deficit. This is also right. Overall trade current account deficit है हमारा. So 1, 3 and 4 are right. There is an option D that certifies what we think. Therefore answer is option number D. 2 ना पता होते हुए भी I could have marked this answer. Now in last quarter our current account deficit was not deficit, we were in surplus. We had a current account surplus. Last quarter के अंदर we had a current account surplus. Some of you may have this doubt कि भाई जो है current account surplus है इंडिया का, and question में दिया है India suffers from an overall trade current account deficit. But last quarter we had a surplus, so therefore this option should be wrong. Or you might get confused in marking this option. Don't get confused. Why? India's current account surplus is an exception. हमें एक बार करंट अकाउंट सरप्लस आ गया, आज से 10-12 साल पहले पिछली बार आया था, एंड इट इज अ करंट अकाउंट सरप्लस दिस ईयर और इन जस्ट 1 क्वार्टर. अगर हम एंटायर ईयर का देखेंगे, probably again we would be in deficit. Even if we are not in deficit for the entire year, even if we are not, then also it would be an exception, because this year is an exception. It would be an exception that we are not in current account deficit. Otherwise, we are almost always in a current account deficit. So don't get confused in such questions. Next, question number 83. The term West Texas Intermediate, everybody knows it's crude oil, WTI. Two types of crude, Brent crude and WTI crude. American वाले को WTI बोलते हैं. West Texas Intermediate crude oil. Next, in the context of Indian economy, non-financial debt includes which of the following? If you don't know what is non-financial debt, skip this question. नहीं पता नॉन फाइनेंशियल डेट क्या है तो क्यों करना? अगेन एज आई सेड, पूरे सारे सवाल नहीं करने हमें. Attempt only those questions that you are certain or you are rationally sure that this should be the answer. नहीं पता हमें नॉन फाइनेंशियल डेट क्या है तो हम क्यों करें इस सवाल को? बता देता हूं मैं नॉन फाइनेंशियल डेट क्या है. नॉन फाइनेंशियल डेट इज डेट दैट इज अंडरटेकन बाय एंटिटीज दैट आर नॉट ऑफ फाइनेंशियल नेचर. फाइनेंशियल सिस्टम, दैट इज बैंकिंग सिस्टम. Banking system, finance system, investment system. If some institution in the banking system has taken a debt, that is a financial debt. If I take a loan to purchase a car, that is a non-financial debt. If I take a loan to purchase a house, a non-financial debt. I spend money on my credit card. Credit card is also kind of short-term unsecured debt, a non-financial debt. Why? Because I am not a financial institution. इसको हम बोलते हैं non-financial debt. अगर नहीं पता, if you don't know what is non-financial, skip this question. As simple as that. Why do we want to attempt, or why do we want to apply logic to every question in which there is no logic? No logic here. If you don't know what is non-financial, skip it. As simple as that. Housing loans owed by households, yes, part of non-financial debt. Amounts outstanding on credit card, अभी बताया मैंने, yes, that is also non-financial debt. Treasury bills, Government of India is a non-financial institution. Government of India issued treasury bills. Government of India is not a financial institution. Bank, SBI एक financial institution है, Government of India financial institution नहीं है. This is also example of non-financial debt. So option 1, 2, 3 all are correct. Answer is D. Next question number 85. Next question. In India, why are some nuclear reactors kept under IAEA safeguards and while others are not? Now this is current affairs. This is current affairs of our times. हमारे टाइम का है current affairs. तो इसलिए मुझे तो इसका आंसर 100% पता था. But maybe I don't know if it was in current affairs this year, as in was it covered in some PT 65 or was there some news item related to this. So I don't know whether it was in news this year or not. Again, it is that information that if you know it, then it's okay. If you don't know it, then it's fine. Logically, अगर इसको solve करना हो तो it's a conflict of interest on my part, because I already know, as in I knew the answer to this question because I had been part of, जब ये 2014 में news आई थी, when Indian government put some nuclear reactors under IAEA inspection, then it was covered a lot in the media, so therefore I knew it. So मेरे लिए आपको ये बताना अभी that would not be fair कि भाई एग्जाम के बाद मैं आपको बता रहा हूँ ऐसी चीज जो कि मेरे को पता हो सकता है. For you people, for your crop, those who are giving exam first time, second time, third time this year, probably you may not be as familiar as this concept. हो सकता है current affairs में हो. So therefore I would say that this is one of the easier question. Maybe you may not find it as easy. The answer is very simple, because we have signed nuclear deal with America, and that was an obligation कि भाई whatever nuclear plants we are operating here, which are using fuel from foreign countries, those nuclear plants would not be used for military purposes. Those nuclear plants, foreign fuel we are using, Kazakhstan, Australia side, I don't think so we are importing as of now. We are importing uranium from Kazakhstan, Russia. Whether or not that uranium is being used for military purposes, in order to check this, IAEA would have to have oversight over Indian nuclear reactors which are using foreign fuels, and for that some of the nuclear reactors, I think 14 out of 22, are under IAEA safeguards, are under IAEA inspection. So this is the answer. Some use imported uranium and other use domestic supply. This is the answer. Next question number 86. This is a difficult question. Again a fact based question. Question 82 से एक question आया है, is asking at before we move on to the next question, there is a question regarding question number 82. Question number 82. International trade of India, which of the following statements are correct at present? Okay, you are saying at present, so option C can be the answer. Ravali C, you say you are saying that. Yeah, you are saying that the question is asking at present. देखो, your logic is right. Your logic is right that if you say that at present, then option number C can be the answer. I would suggest that you look at this question in a more broader perspective. Do not go into a very peculiar aspect. Look at it from a broader perspective, that is India generally or most commonly, is India current account surplus or current account deficit country? We are a current account deficit country. Our merchandise exports are less than as compared to our merchandise imports. So that way options answer should be 1, 3 and 4, as in both first and fourth option should be right. If you say that at present and you then say that okay, we should mark option number 3 only as the answer, I would not stop you from marking that answer, as in your mind you are logically right and that is a rational logic that you have put. आपने सही logic put किया है, you could have marked option number 3 as right. Maybe when UPSC comes out with an answer, you will be surprised that answer is option number 4, or I will be surprised answer is option number 3. Both of us have marked this option thinking whatever our logical reasoning is right, and then we have marked this option. I think that answer should be option number 4. Why? Because we have to look at this question from a broader perspective. We have to see that whether or not in general option number 4 is right, or option number 1 and 4 are right, or in general option number 1 and 4 are wrong. This year at present उसके अंदर अगर लिख दिया है तो at present लिखने की वजह से there is some element of doubt in that. There is an element of doubt, undoubtedly, yes, you are right in that. But I would still suggest that answer is option number 4. It's not option number C. मेरी suggestion है, लेकिन मैं साथ में आपको ये भी बोलूंगा that if you have marked option number 3, don't feel disheartened because of that. Fine. देखो, यूपीएससी ऑप्शन नंबर 3 दे दे, उसका भी लॉजिकल जस्टिफिकेशन है, यूपीएससी ऑप्शन नंबर 4 दे दे, उसका भी लॉजिकल जस्टिफिकेशन है. लेकिन यूपीएससी कुछ भी आंसर दे, उसके बाद हम कोर्ट जाएंगे, कुछ होगा, नथिंग इज गोइंग टू हैपन. सो यू विल लूज 1 year in anticipation or in saying कि भाई यूपीएससी ने गलत आंसर दे दिया और ये कर दिया. You will spend that 1 year in anxiety. So don't bother about it. Don't bother कि भाई एक क्वेश्चन आपका गलत हो गया है, सही हो गया based on this. So don't forget about this. Answer should be option number 4. Last year एक क्वेश्चन आया था, मैंने डिस्कस भी किया था डिटेल में when we were discussing question of last year, that was regarding import substitution. Some second or third 5-year plan के ऊपर एक क्वेश्चन था, and that said that there was a focus on substitution. There was a focus on substitution of capital goods and machinery. कुछ इस टाइप का क्वेश्चन था. That statement was wrong. बिल्कुल गलत statement थी. But I told this when we were taking that discussion also, when I was in this open session, कि लिख के ले लो, UPSC statement को write करने वाला है. Why? Because that statement was copy pasted from some document. एक document था, वहां से उस statement को copy paste कर रखा था, and अभी की आई है, सबने देखा कि वो statement right था. It didn't make sense. Logically that statement was wrong. But UPSC did made that statement as right, because अगर हम broader perspective में देखते तो वो statement सही थी. So these are my 2 cents regarding this particular question. Next, we are discussing about question number 86, TRIMS. With reference to trade related investment measure, which of the following statements are correct? Quantitative restrictions on imports by foreign investors are prohibited. So what is this TRIMS, trade related investment measure? This is a difficult question. Again, don't know, forget it. अगर नहीं पता है आंसर, भूल जाओ, इसको स्किप करो. 25 क्वेश्चन है इकोनॉमिक्स और करंट अफेयर्स के मिला के. This is the third question in which I am saying that if you don't know then skip it. 22 क्वेश्चन अभी बचे हैं, as in इसके बाद भी 3-4 क्वेश्चन है, उसके अंदर हो सकता है एक क्वेश्चन कोई और ऐसा है जिसके अंदर ऐसे. Still there is a fair enough attempt out of 25 you are attempting 20, that is a good enough attempt. That means out of 100 if you attempt 80 क्वेश्चन तो बहुत ही अच्छा अटेम्प्ट होता है. 80 क्वेश्चन तो वेरी गुड अटेम्प्ट. आई नेवर एनकरेज कि आपको पूरे 90 95 100 करने. नो, 80 क्वेश्चंस मोर देन एनफ होते हैं इफ योर स्ट्राइक रेट इज गुड. So TRIMS, Trade Related Investment Measure, it's a treaty under WTO. Countries have to sign it. This treaty concerns when a foreign company comes and does business in a country. Apple comes and does business in India. What are the steps that Indian government can or cannot take regarding this particular business, regarding this particular investment? Can Indian government pose some restrictions on Apple for importing something? Apple wants to produce iPhones in India and government of India says that you cannot produce iPhones in India by importing silicon from some other country. That would be an unreasonable, unfair restrictions. इस टाइप की जो restrictions हैं, they are prohibited under TRIMS, Trade Related Investment Measures. Trade related, that means anything that affects trade, not your general operation but trade. As far as trade is concerned, there are certain investment measures that a country's government can take and certain measures that a country's government cannot take. So TRIMS के अंदर उन actions की बात कही है. What actions can a government take if they affect trade with respect to investment by a foreign company? Apple invests in India and it indulges in trade. What steps can Indian government not take and what steps can it take? It imports something, can Indian government restrict the imports? Yes or no? ये सब चीजें TRIMS के अंदर बात की थी. All these restrictions, actions are part of TRIMS agreement. Quantitative restrictions on import by foreign investors are prohibited. Yes, that's right. You cannot impose quantitative restrictions on foreign investors. Apple comes to India, you cannot say that you can import only 10 tons of silicon from abroad. इस type की quantitative restrictions नहीं लगा सकते हैं. That are prohibited. They apply to investment measures related to trade in both goods and services. Trade related, TRIMS is part of trade in goods. GATT का part है TRIMS, General Agreement on Trade and Tariff in goods का part है. It's not applicable to services, applicable only to goods. So option number 2 is wrong. ऑप्शन नंबर 2 गलत है. आंसर आ जाएगा 1 and 3 ओनली अगर हम यहां से कर लें तो. बट अगेन आई वुड नॉट एनकरेज दैट यू अटेम्प्ट दिस क्वेश्चन इफ यू डोंट नो. दे आर नॉट कनेक्टेड विद रेगुलेशन ऑफ फॉरेन इन्वेस्टमेंट. अब तो आंसर पता ही चल गया. यस, ऑप्शन नंबर 3 इज राइट. दे आर नॉट, बता भी देता हूं, दे आर नॉट कनेक्टेड विद फॉरेन इन्वेस्टमेंट रेगुलेशन. इन्वेस्टमेंट के ऊपर रेगुलेशन नहीं है. Country can have its own investment policy. Apple wants to invest in India. Indian government can say you can invest only up to 40%, 45%, 74%. Indian government can lay restrictions. But after it has invested, can Indian government lay restrictions with regards to trade that Apple does? ये उस trade की restrictions की बात करता है TRIMS agreement. So option number C, yes, that's right. Option number 1 and 3 are correct. 2 is wrong. Answer is option number C. Next question number 87. If RBI decides to adopt an expansionist monetary policy, which of the following would it not do? क्या नहीं करेगा RBI if it decides to adopt an expansionist monetary policy? Expansionist, that means it wants to increase supply of money in the country. It would cut and optimize statutory liquidity ratio. If it cuts and optimizes statutory liquidity ratio, that will increase supply of money in the economy. Yes, one can be done. Would it not do? तो 1 कर सकता है. 1 it can do. Increase the marginal standing facility rate. If RBI increases MSF rate, that would lead to, that would be a prohibition or that would be a restriction on banks to borrow under MSF facility from RBI. So अगर expansionist monetary policy follow करनी है, you will not increase MSF rate. Instead, you would decrease them. So 2 is something which you would not do. 2 is something which you would not do. Question में पूछा है क्या नहीं करोगे. So 2 is something that you would not do. 1 is something that you would do. So answer 1 और 2 में से 2 है, 1 नहीं है. 3, cut the bank rate and repo rate. Certainly, if you want to increase money supply, that is something that you would do. So 3 also you would do, 1 you would do, 2 you would not do. So answer would be B, 2 only. Next, question number 88. With reference to Indian economy after 1991 economic liberalization, consider the following statements. Worker productivity. Now again, this is one question. Logically हम इसको आंसर कर सकते हैं. This is a very difficult question. In fact, I think the most difficult question in the economics that has been asked. But logically we can answer this question. Logically, अगर पढ़ा है, न्यूज़पेपर पढ़ा है और एक जनरल मैच्योर अंडरस्टैंडिंग है, we should be able to do this. worker productivity increased in urban areas while it decreased in rural areas. Think about it. Between 2004-5 and today, after post-liberalization, in post-liberalization period, worker productivity, that means per unit output a worker is producing, would it have increased, would it have decreased anywhere? Rural productivity भी increase हुई है, urban productivity भी increase हुई है. Relative to urban, rural might not have increased at such a pace, but ऐसा तो नहीं है कि पहले rural areas के अंदर you were producing 10 tons of wheat and now you are producing 5 tons of wheat. So certainly one, option number 1 is wrong. Eliminate करते हैं 1 को. Let's see, we are left with 3 and 4 only or 3 only. That means 3 is right. Now let's look at option number 2. Percentage share of rural areas in workforce steadily increased. No, more and more people are migrating from rural areas to urban areas, so therefore share of urban in total employment would have increased. Rural का increase नहीं किया होगा, so option number 2 is also wrong. 3 is certainly right, as we have seen from this. In rural areas, growth in non-farm economy increased. Yes, non-farm economy has taken a boost in post-liberalization period, so option number 3 is obviously right. The growth rate in rural employment decreased. The growth rate in rural employment. So now we are left with this option. Growth rate rural employment की decrease हुई है. Yes or no? Growth rate, has it decreased of rural employment? Rural areas were generating more number of jobs earlier as compared to the jobs that they have generated in post-liberalization era. In post-liberalization era, more jobs have been generated in urban areas as compared to those that have been generated in rural areas. Think of it like this. There has been a shift of new jobs created that has taken place from rural to urban. Shifting of new jobs created that has taken up from rural to urban. That is why option number 4 is right. Rural areas में growth rate of rural employment has decreased. This is right. Again एक fact based चीज है. I am just telling you, if you don't know, how could you think, how could you logically justify this option? Answer is 3 and 4. 3 and 4 are correct. 1 and 2 are wrong. Next question number 89. In terms of short-term credit delivery to agriculture sector, district central cooperative banks deliver more credit in comparison to scheduled commercial banks and regional rural banks. Covered in our PT65. PT65 के अंदर clearly दिया हुआ है. Scheduled commercial banks have the largest share of credit in rural areas. So in agriculture, in rural areas, सब चीज के अंदर scheduled commercial bank they have about 75% share as compared to 11-12% of DCCB and 11-12% of regional rural banks. So option number 1 is wrong. One of the most important functions of DCCBs is to provide funds to primary agricultural credit society. This is right. ये तो this is आंख बंद करके भी इसको सही मान सकते हो. नहीं भी पता है तो इसके अंदर कुछ गलत नहीं है. Primary agricultural credit society, who will provide fund to them? Regional rural banks will provide. District cooperative banks would provide. So in सब institution, in सब banks का काम यही है. So option number 2 is right, 1 is wrong. Answer is B. Question number 90. In India, under cyber insurance for individuals, which of the following benefits are generally covered in addition to payments for funds and other benefits? Insurance नहीं पता, बिल्कुल भी नहीं पता कि इंश्योरेंस क्या होता है. We don't know that what is cyber insurance. लेकिन लॉजिकली इतना आसान क्वेश्चन है गैस करना. लॉजिकली इट्स सो इजी टू आंसर दिस क्वेश्चन. व्हाट इज इंश्योरेंस? इंश्योरेंस इज यू इंश्योर योरसेल्फ अगेंस्ट सम मिसहैपनिंग. Something happens. In this case, a cyber fraud happens. In this case, some person is being harmed because of, is facing some harm because of cyber activity. So you are taking an insurance for that, as in you are taking an insurance that if something happens, you are going to get a claim. Somebody stalks you on internet, you can get a claim. Somebody steals your data from internet, you can get a claim. Somebody does a financial fraud, you can get a claim. What all costs would be involved? Cost of, for example, hiring a lawyer would be involved. You would get a claim for that cost. So you are insuring yourself against any damages that may occur because of cyber crime. Cost of restoration of computer system in case of malware disrupting access to one's computer, something which is not in your hands, certainly would be covered. Cost of new computer if some miscreant willfully damages it, if proved so. किसी ने कंप्यूटर को डैमेज कर दिया है willfully. willfully damage, willful damage ही तो प्रूव होगा. Willful damage is not part of insurance. किसान ने अपना खेत अपने आप जला दिया, उसके बाद बोला मेरा खेत बर्बाद हो गया, मेरे खेत में जो है फ्लड आ गया था, I willfully done it. So you can be things that are under your control. If you do then that is not covered under insurance. So option number 2 would not be covered. Cost of hiring a specialized consultant, yes, to minimize, should be covered. Cost of defense in court of law if any third party files a suit, this should also be covered. Answer should be 1, 3 and 4. B should be the answer of this particular question. Okay, so with that we have finished our discussion on economics and current affairs. There are 2 questions, I'll quickly take them up, and then Rajesh sir is here, he is waiting for taking up your environment for your polity discussion. I'm sure there would be some questions, few questions hain peculiar hain regarding preamble wala question of peculiar hai, he'll give a justifiable explanation for that. So just wait, I'll take up these 2 questions quickly and then I'll wrap up and Rajesh sir would be here. Doubt regarding global financial crisis. I felt that the question was regarding foreign exchange rate. In that way, opening up to foreign banks brings fresh dollar flow, so there won't be depreciation. Harsh is asking this question. Harsh, you are right. As भाई आपकी understanding अगर गलत थी तो उसमें मैं help नहीं कर सकता हूँ. Your understanding जो आपने ली है उसके हिसाब से your option is right. If you think about foreign exchange rate opening up to more banks, that may lead to facilitation of more inflow of dollars in the country and that would lead to appreciation. Foreign exchange would get strengthened. आपकी understanding के हिसाब से your answer is right. But आपकी अंडरस्टैंडिंग गलत थी. It was regarding foreign crisis. It was not exchange rate crisis. It was about financial crisis. So अंडरस्टैंडिंग गलत थी, इस वजह से आपने गलत कर दिया. Don't get disheartened. भूल जाओ एक क्वेश्चन को. A few questions had, next Varsha is asking, a few questions had link in the Financial Express, but it's not possible to go through 2 newspapers and then through Financial Express also. So any alternative for that? What are you asking, Varsha? Certainly भाई मैं तो सबको ऐसा सजेस्ट करता हूं, दैट इज माय पर्सनल ओपिनियन, कि भाई जितने न्यूज़पेपर पढ़ो उतने कम है. लेकिन ऑब्वियसली देयर हैज टू बी अ रैशन फॉर दैट. रीड 2 न्यूज़पेपर्स, इंडियन एक्सप्रेस एंड द हिंदू, दैट शुड बी मोर देन सफिशिएंट. डोंट, अब सोर्स हमने दे दिया कहीं से, द डिप्लोमैट मैगजीन का सोर्स है, किसी ने दिया फॉरेन अफेयर्स मैगजीन का सोर्स है, किसी ने दिया प्रोजेक्ट सिंडिकेट का सोर्स है, तो हम सब थोड़ी ना पढ़ सकते हैं. Rationalize yourself. Once you read 2 newspapers, you would be in a certain state of maturity that you would be able to answer most of the questions. Don't go for, अगर आपको एक क्वेश्चन एक्स्ट्रा आंसर करने के लिए एक पूरी किताब पढ़नी पड़ रही है तो क्या आपका रिस्क टू रिटर्न है, रिवॉर्ड, रिस्क टू रिवॉर्ड क्या है, इन्वेस्टमेंट टू रिवॉर्ड क्या है, बहुत ही कम है. Chances of that question being asked are very less, or for that you have spent let's say 1 month in reading that book. So don't waste your time in all these things. Rationally अपनी प्रिपरेशन को रैशन करो कि क्या पढ़ सकता हूं या पढ़ सकती हूं और क्या पढ़ना चाहिए. Revise those things rather than going for new things. These are just my 2 cents. So okay, that's it from my side. All the best everyone. I hope all of you succeed and all of you those who are watching this session, they get through and we have this discussion after the mains also when we take open session for that. Till then, as I said in the beginning, don't be anxious, don't worry about any number. कोई भी आपको कोई नंबर बोले, हमने बोल दिया अगर कोई नंबर तो उसको भी इग्नोर कर देना. Don't worry about any number. Fine. So don't think about any cut off. किसी इंस्टीट्यूट ने ये बोल दिया, किसी इंस्टीट्यूट ने बोल दिया, भूल जाओ सबको. अपनी प्रिपरेशन करो. Don't get anxious for that. Okay, that's it from my side. All the best everybody. Rajesh sir is here. Let's take a break of about 1 minute. It's been about 1.5 hours for me speaking. Take about 1-2 minutes break and then he'll come and then he'll take up the remaining questions of polity. Thank you so much.